All right, so welcome back to the Battlefield 4 live stream. I'm Corey Dunn. I'm now joined by Karl Magnus. It's good to have you back. I mean, we had the chance to be able to dive down deep there on day one, right off the bat. I mean, we were able to sit there and expose as much as we could think of, and there's been a lot of acceptance for all the information that you're able to provide. Cool. So definitely a pleasure to have you back on here and kind of answer any of the other questions that we might have. We've learned a lot, though, since day one. Yeah. Since we've watched a lot of different types of game elements and seeing how the game is type of progress. How's the event, though? I mean, it was busy there for Patrick Bach. How about for yourself?
It's very similar for me as well. It's back-to-back with interviews. We're running from various rooms to various sets, etc., to do the interviews, and it's the response so far has been absolutely amazing. I mean, actually, I prefer to hang around here where the actual people are playing. But even when you listen to journalists that come straight off the play test, etc., and then you have an interview, people are really excited. They find it really fun to play the game and get into it. That they really like what we presented here. You know, some people are more into the bigger, the bigger features that we put into the game, the new stuff. But some of them are really into the minute details as well, the smaller innovations that we know that the hardcore players are really going to enjoy for many long before the perhaps novelty of some of the bigger features have gone away.
That's some of the stuff that I'm definitely looking forward to. We can go ahead and dive directly back into the gameplay and kind of continue to talk about some of the little minute details that you're mentioning as well. I think one of the cool things for me that I heard earlier today was the ammo and health pack. I know I've mentioned this numerous times. The having the ability to have the little packs that you can slap on one of your teammates that can go back into the battle, or you can toss it. Say that, for instance, they're on the second story. I think that's a great addition. And also the C4 side of things, where whenever you're on recon, you can swim across to a boat and slap C4 on the side of the boat and have the same type of impact that you do to any type of vehicle on land.
Yeah, it's actually something we felt that when you're swimming and you were swimming in the Intervju, you were very exposed because you could not fire back, you couldn't do anything. So any kind of one-handed gadget or weapons you could actually use now when you're swimming as well. And you have sprint swim.
Yeah, sprint swim. I think that's been a great thing that we coined. First thing that was mentioned. I think the entire community is already attached to the idea. The other big key component is the fact that you can shoot your secondary. That's above and beyond. And one of the cool things that we had the chance to see was a player dove into the water and stayed down. So a lot of people may think, well, you can just dive down for a moment and then you have to pop back up. But what we've seen so far is players actually taking advantage of it and diving down, because again, in Battlefield 3, you're a sitting duck. You're exposed, and I think that again is another great addition out there. So again, I think there's been a lot of great elements that we've noticed so far throughout the game. Another one that I think that we can kind of talk about too is some of the vehicle animations whenever they become disabled. So there was a post out there saying that there was a flat tire for one of the vehicles, and one of the animations was it had lost a tire, and it was actually
that's actually more than I know, but that might be true.
Again, this goes back to the little minute details that the community picked up. I didn't pick up on it first thing, but I've been watching for it now.
No, but the team back home that is working so hard on this title, not just for this title, but for Battlefield as a whole, we have this great idea of attention to detail, and actually the game is starting to get so detailed now that it's hard to just keep up with everything that is happening. Just small things like, a sniper rifle, but now you have rangefinders in there that these kind of small things that goes into it. And of course we're trying to add these kind of things because it actually makes the game more interesting to play with, not just because of the eye candy factor.
So the question that I have then is, how do you balance, because you don't want to get too super realistic with certain elements, you want to kind of keep it a little bit, have an arcadey feel. How do you balance those two?
Well, we have a saying in the studio that we're not trying to build a realistic game, but we are trying to build an authentic game. But even before authentic, we're building a fun game. So fun comes before everything else. You can look at the jets, for instance. They do not fly at the same appropriate speed as a jet probably should, because it would never work in the actual game. But that's the kind of that's the kind of conversations you need to do to get this whole Battlefield system to work together. And I think so far we do everything pretty well. Sometimes you might do something that is too far out there, etc., and then we scale it back and we fix it in post.
I think one of my favorite things is watching a tank actually flip. I think that alone is only in Battlefield for sure.
I should take this opportunity probably with so many people of the community is really listening to what we're saying here, and express how much we appreciate with all the crazy stuff that people do out there in the game, just for fun, and sometimes when they play really actively, but all these kind of strange things that people do inside of Battlefield and record the movies and put it up. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So one of the things that with the industry, especially for the Battlefield community, is they're not just consumers, they're producers.
Yep.
And that right there is just a beautiful, beautiful thing, because one, it's not only just what they can do on video, but at the same time the feedback and also the suggestions that are made are just so at a high quality, especially in the Battlefield community. Again, shout out to the guys because they're so educated.
Maybe not everyone knows it, but you probably heard that part of the idea of how we package this product is we say only in Battlefield, like only this is available in Battlefield. And maybe not everyone perhaps see that, but that actually comes from the community created videos. Like when we have seen the huge uptake of these kind of ideas that people have, and they actually put that into a movie and create it and put it up on the web. That is what the inspiration from that campaign only in Battlefield came from.
Right, and if you haven't had the chance, make sure you go to facebook.com/Battlefield. That's where I got all my updates on the only in Battlefield. So I knew way before I even became a part of this whole shoutcasting ability here. So it was great. Again, I cycled through numerous videos after that point.
Cool.
So as we kind of look at it, we've talked about the counterattack. I thought that was another great feature that was added into the game. One of the things that was kind of interesting to me, and I honestly don't know the answer because I've played a great deal of just normal gameplay for Battlefield 3, but I've noticed in this game right here, we get it's a feature that's been here for this demo since we're in pre-alpha right now, but we get to see what it's like to have ammo for hardcore. So in hardcore, where the magazine clip doesn't fully reload itself. So basically what I'm trying to get at, I've tried to explain this numerous times, but whenever you reload, you're dispensing the clip altogether, not the ammo that's there. So as we just the way that the game has been great though, because what I've noticed is we're not seeing any redundancies in gameplay. It's every time we've watched this map being played, it's been different every single time.
And I mean, people that play Battlefield knows this, but I mean that is part of the core recipe of what we call like the sandbox and the rock paper scissors design that has been with Battlefield from the beginning. That is part of the idea that it's not just about building one game mechanic, it's building a system of game mechanic that matches together. So, you always have something to counter the other with. A jet might be good against tanks, but, they're vulnerable to something else, etc. And that is part of what the idea of Battlefield is all about.
So what is the process that goes into to really balance out tanks or the land battle versus air, and what's the method that goes into play?
Well, there's, naturally we have very skilled designers sitting at home thinking about this, and we rely quite heavily as well on just, the experience that people have. But there's one thing that really makes this possible, and that is playing the game over and over and over and over again in the studio. Every day we have playtests where we go in, we take all the fixes that people have done over the last 24 hours or whatever. We play the game and people give feedback, and the people that are responsible for the various parts of the game then look at their specific features to say, did it work better, worse, etc. How is it turning out? So just to repeat this kind of iterative process of getting feedback in, fixing stuff, testing it, playing it again, these kind of things. That's basically how we get to the hopefully the quality that people enjoy when we release the game.
Probably one of my favorite parts is inside the elevator and the elevator music as you go up. So we've dived down deep into all the different types of elements that is within Battlefield There's actually a new another point that I just thought of. The squad side. One of the things that I've realized is we don't have. I haven't seen directly a squad sprint, a squad ammo. All those different elements, but if you look at the bottom left side of your screen, I see this bar. Can you explain that for me?
This is a feature that we call field upgrade. That is, some people might somewhat recognize from Battlefield 2142, where you have like this system, and basically it means that if you play together as a squad, anything team-related score events actually helps you upgrade your field upgrades. These will then give you various upgrades that similar to more ammo, more grenades and these kind of things. But you can also be punished. So if, for instance, the squad is wiped out, you actually fall down a level, and the things are also reset after your session is over. So it's one of those things that we want to put in there that is not persistent. It's something you have to work to get to.
Right.
But it can greatly affect your efficiency as a squad together.
What is and I've seen previous versions with Battlefield, and having a rank gives you the accessibility to a lot more weapons. How is that balancing out for those who are just now getting their first chance to play Battlefield 4? So say, for instance, a year from now, whenever we've actually had the chance to play Battlefield 4, it's in the community, but I'm a new user and I just hop into it.
Well, I mean, we have a philosophy that we should never have any real, super guns that just take over and are much more efficient than all the other guns. So, but that does also make it hard, because you want to make some guns, you want to have people work to get them and unlock them, etc. But the way that we work with this and the philosophy is that they have different traits. If you might prefer a specific weapon because of the handling or because of how it actually works, rate of fire, the damage it does, whatever it might be with this core functionality of the actual weapon. So it's much about unlocking the weapons that are out there and then finding your favorite, which you like. And then, of course, you have all the customization that goes with that as well.
Right.
So you can not only unlock your weapon, but then customize it to to fit your playstyle, basically.
I think one of my favorite additions, it may not be the most grand in comparison to others, but is the ability to have attachments for your secondary.
Yes.
And you don't have to sit there and work towards an unlockable for a pistol with a silencer. You're working for the attachment, and you get that attachment, and you can attach that to various other weapons. So I think that's great. Yeah, so we've just been watching so far while talking about it. So we've got right now we're Alpha 03. What was the idea behind both the amphibious vehicle and also this MRAP? In terms of, is it just built for the fact that it can get you across the map quicker? I guess I'm looking for what its purpose is.
Well, I mean, are you talking about the water vehicles?
The amphibious vehicle, as well as the that vehicle that we're just with now. The land vehicle as well.
Well, I mean, I don't know the exact details that went into the ideas of why they selected those specifically, but I mean, when it comes to the actual vehicles we have on water, we know that as soon as you're out on the water, you are pretty exposed. And speed is definitely something you need to use there to maneuver around. So the faster the water-based amphibious vehicles are, the easier it is. But we also want them to be capable to actually fire back, specifically perhaps helicopters, which can be quite pestering if you're on the surface. So if you take the boat that we have in here, for instance, you both have a cannon, but you also have like 2 Gatling guns. I don't know exactly what the model type of them are, but that are sitting on the side of the boat. So you can be very offensive with it as well. And then you have the jet skis, of course. The actual land-based vehicle you're talking about is more of an armored, fast-moving vehicle. We've had Jeeps, of course, in the past, but this one definitely has more armor, because otherwise you're pretty exposed in the other vehicles. The light-skinned vehicles we have had earlier before.
Are we going to have the chance to be able to still see those light-skinned vehicles in later once this game is fully developed?
Oh, you're putting me to the test here. I don't know exactly the full roster of the vehicles we have. We should probably ping some of the vehicle designers in the studio, but I couldn't see why not.
Yeah, so that was always one of the questions that was out there. I mean, of course, this is a very it's a great window, but it's a narrow window comparison to what's possible.
Yep.
Of course, I mean, getting the chance to see some really dramatic evolutions just similar to this on other maps, I'm looking forward to it. I know that people were questioning in the very beginning when they first saw the skyscraper fall, they thought of the tower falling in BF3, and it was a timed event in BF3. But here, it's an interaction by the players.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of, or the concept of evolutions that we talk about it, for the people that have been with the franchise for a long period of time, they know that the introduction of destruction in Battlefield Bad Company 1 really changed how people play the game, right? It went from being something quite static into something very dynamic. That was, of course, inspired by the fact that, we as players at DICE were a bit... We felt that it was not really, it didn't feel right when you ran into a small tent and, a big Abrams tank was shooting at the tent and nothing was happening. So we felt that that's, at the same time that we're not building a simulator, but we wanted to build a game that felt more interesting. And that's where the first idea of destruction came from. Now we're in Battlefield 4, we're taking this into a whole new concept that is not just about the destruction ranging from micro destruction all the way to the skyscraper coming down. It's about the interactivity of things like elevators or things that affect the spatial awareness of metal detectors going off when you run through them, etc.
I think one of my favorite things that I've seen also is whenever they were over in Metro and closing the storefront.
Yeah.
So they were able to hide in there for a little bit so any other infantry couldn't break through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the team is quite busy with trying to figure out more of these kind of small things, because sometimes you don't, we're sitting there looking at it, they might not feel like, oh, an elevator, how interesting is that? But actually, when you think about it from that you're going to be playing this for so many hours and you play it from a tactical point of view, elevators are really interesting, and it's like we should definitely have more of that.
Yeah, so one of the key points that I know that I do a lot in Battlefield 3 is I'll hop in a helicopter or find a way to parachute down on top of the building. But if you give me an elevator, I'll take that.
Yeah.
But it's been great to watch all the different the elements that have come into this game, and I just look forward to getting the chance to play hands-on in my own home. Especially for those of you that haven't done it yet, you can go to Amazon.com and pre-order Battlefield 4 right now, and you'll even receive a battle pack with that as well. So it's been great to watch. I mean, like I mentioned before, we've seen so many different variations of gameplay throughout these past 2 days, and it's always impressive to me. This is actually the first helicopter battle that I've seen yet.
Oops, that was
maybe that's why I haven't seen them last. They don't last too long. Especially, so I guess that brings back up a point too. And when we're talking about creating new maps, we're talking what was the thought process of trying to recreate Shanghai to this scale?
Well, I mean, when the team thought about this, I mean, we wanted to create a map that we haven't done before, and there's so many different elements that are put together in this map. We have done downtown urban areas before with skyscrapers, but never with air vehicles. We would never combine the idea of you can zoom around with a helicopter around skyscrapers, etc. At the same time, we haven't neither combined that with water before as well. So this map is really a test for us to see how much can we push this when it comes to the scale and the various different types of gameplay that we can put into one map. It's been a challenge for the team to get all of this together, but I would say that they were very happy with the results so far, and people really like the map. But it is very, very ambitious from that perspective. So, and not all maps of the game will be like this and contain every element, of course. There will be maps that are more specifically driven in one direction to the other, etc. But it's also natural for us to choose this map for an event like this, E3, to really show off what we can do.
I know that there's been some players that are out there that said I'm from Shanghai, and it looks pretty spot on for the most part.
Yeah, we don't try to replicate areas to the minute detail, but we definitely take a lot of inspiration and use some parts of it which looks very similar.
All right, so this is a question that the community is always wondering about. I think it was kind of got sparked a little bit, but I have to ask, is there going to be? Are we ever going to see any dinosaurs at any point?
You have to wait and see.
Oh, we gotta wait and see.
We'll see.
All right, well, I'll make that the last question for
Okay.
fun. I appreciate it.